history of Holy Cross began in the 1840s. Holy Cross and Flatbush are two inseparable entities. Flatbush, the oldest community in our nation, was occupied by the Dutch during the 16th century. There was a heavy influx of immigrants from Ireland and Europe coming into the United States by the 19th century. The Irish was pushed out of Ireland by lack of political autonomy, the Great Famine, and religious conflicts. Many of the Irish were impoverished and faced discrimination due to their Catholic faith. The Irish, fleeing the Great Famine at home, became inhabitants of Flatbush alongside the Dutch in the 1840s. Catholic immigrants settled in Manhattan. Brooklyn, however, received a considerable share of them. Did you ever wonder what about the religious life of these Catholics who had found their way into Flatbush since the beginning of the 19th century? In the first few decades, they had to travel all the way to the neighboring town in Brooklyn to attend Mass and receive other sacraments. St. James, the first Catholic church in Brooklyn, had been established in 1820. By the 1840s, the Catholics of Flatbush, though still few in numbers, had begun to meet as a group to fulfill their religious aspirations. They depend on the visiting priests from Brooklyn and gathered in private houses. A decided change occurred for the better of local Catholics in 1848. The current house was purchased as a house of worship. The current house was located in Holy Cross Cemetery Chapel. The first priest in charge was Father Quinn from St. James, from the latter of 1848 to about the middle of 1850. Father Quinn, Father Brody, and Gillespie, in the order named, served as pastors. The number of Catholics started to grow as many of the immigrants from Europe found their way to this village. They would not be satisfied, however, until they had a regular church in which they could worship God. In May 1850, Reverend Edward Brody purchased the property from Erasmus Street and Prospect Street, now Veronica Place. Then Bishop Lachlan transferred the title of land to Holy Cross. In fall 1851, the much-awaited event took place. The first Catholic church in this neighborhood was erected. In the winter of 1852, a parochial school was established in Holy Cross Parish. It began with about 125 pupils. The Kings County Rural Gazette reported this event on September 7, 1872, laying of the cornerstone on September 1st, 1872. As the congregation grew, the number of students increased. Therefore, the Sisters of St. Joseph, who were introduced into the parish in 1872, they fulfilled the task of bringing faith and Christian living into the souls of young people. On June 8, 1873, was a day of dedication for the completion of the new Church of Holy Cross. At the conclusion of the Mass, Bishop John Lachlan ascended the altar and delivered a sermon from the text, open quote, "And the will of God shall be your sanctification," end of quote. The Golden Age. Monsignor Woods looked at the current circumstances and saw the parishioners, although generous but with moderate lifestyle, did not enjoy the opportunities which they would make available to their own children. He had ambitious plans for the development of the parish. These generous, self-sacrificing people responded to his appeal with the complete trust in divine providence. He began an era that is considered the golden age of Holy Cross Parish. Under the leadership of Monsignor Woods and enthusiasm of the parish, the vision was a place for worship which would reflect the beauty of God in the house of the Lord dwelleth. First, four new panels were added. Over the altar, the central panel was a depicting of the crucifixion. The artwork reading left to right were the ascension of the Lord, the resurrection, the baptism in the Jordan, and the nativity. Next of Monsignor Wood's expansion plans after the church was the convent and school. In 1898, the new convent was built for our sisters of St. Joseph, which stands to this day at 100 Veronica Place. Finally, in 1920, the original church, which had served as a school, was torn down. In its place was erected the last unit of Holy Cross School. Our parish was singularly blessed by the advent of Xaverian brothers into the school by 1920. For the boys, the Xaverian brothers were zealous, carrying on their work in various schools both in Europe and America. However, their arrival in Holy Cross was an historical event. They resided at the house of Xavier Brothers. Again, looking at the old pictures of the church, you will miss the familiar steeple with its clock and bell. The clock had given the time of day through the passing years, but the steeple pointing to the heavens remind us that time is but a preparation for eternity. The bell is the urgent invitation to always gather around the altar of God, whether in sad situations or lively, happier occasions. Perhaps you notice other things which need explanation. Greater changes were made to the interior and exterior. The church size was increased to fit a capacity of 1,200 people. When you visit the church today, you will see the same paintings added at the time by Father Woods. On the left side can be portrayed the Jewish priest Melchizedek. The next panel is a picture of the Last Supper. The right side of the altar, we have the striking representation of the resurrection and the ascension into heaven. Today, Woods Place is dedicated in honor of Monsignor Woods. After Monsignor Woods, Monsignor Fitzgerald realized that even more room had to be made. There were not enough holy masses to meet the needs of the people. To keep the prestige of our church, he added an auditorium and chapel. After 1895, almost 15,000 parishioners were attending the Holy Mass, which took 11 masses to accommodate them. This was the reason Monsignor Woods and Monsignor Fitzgerald made these significant expansions. Monsignor Fitzgerald replaced the statues of our Blessed Mother and Saint Joseph with two beautiful marble statues, which harmonized so well with the marble altars. In connection with the old statue, Our Blessed Mother, there is a story which many at that time would remember. One evening after devotions, some people praying before Our Lady statue were startled by what they called a miraculous happening. They claimed most positively they saw the eyes of Our Blessed Mother statue repeatedly open and close. As the Eagle reported on May 27, 1926, news of the alleged miracle spread through the neighborhood, and a steady stream of worshippers crowded in the church and refused to leave. It created a great stir for a while, but normalcy soon returned to Flatbush. Many contributions were made by the people who served at Holy Cross. Amongst them was a young religious sister who endeared herself to the parish. This was Sister Agnes Veronica, who returned to our school as a superior and remained here until her death of February 7th, 1949. She was indeed a noble lady of God. Her piety was deep but humble. Her fairness and kind consideration were shown towards all, without exception. Even while she was alive, Prospect Street was officially changed to Veronica Place. When the parish was started, it extended out towards Long Island till it met the limit of St. Monica's Parish of Jamaica. Down through the years, the boundaries of Holy Cross had been gradually shrinking. St. Malachi's Parish was established in 1854. St. Mark's Church on Ocean Avenue was dedicated in 1868. St. Rose of Lima Parish was established in Parksville in 1870. St. Thomas in Flatlands was inaugurated by Father McHugh while he was pastor in 1884. Not long after 1885, St. Matthew's Church was begun. The ones mentioned above, however, were mission churches of Holy Cross and were materially assisted by the mother parish of Flatbush. Although the shrinkage of territory, the growth of the parish continued. On the other hand, our parish kept pace with tremendous growth of community. The number of parishioners who served the country in various wars. In 1941, many of our parishioners served in World War II. There were over 2,000 of our parishioners in the service. 35 of them made the supreme sacrifice to honor them of all heroic statue of Our Lady of Peace erected by Father Rickard in front of the church. Father Rickard would retouch the ceiling with a series of paintings. These paintings depict of two traditional stories of the finding and exaltation of the cross on which Jesus died. We had the portrayal of the finding of the true cross. St. Helen is searching for this priceless relic. The panel on the other side shows another phase of history. The true cross recovered and returned to Jerusalem in 629 AD. Today, we continue the service of giving through the food pantry and St. Vincent de Paul and Thanksgiving dinners. The children. As rural Flatbush grew into suburban and then urban Flatbush, the sisters were part of the growth. Their concern was the most precious commodity. The city had to offer its young people its future. A class of first graders in the Holy Cross School posed for their class picture in 1951. As the parish prepared for its 125th anniversary, Sister Helen Jerome said, "At that time, the young people were involved in the parish. From our students came Father Wong, who was an altar server, then was ordained priest on the Feast of Holy Cross. The children extended into parish youth groups, worked on arts and craft with the seniors. Today, they get all dressed up for All Saints' Day, sing in the youth choir, reenact the birth of Jesus on Christmas Eve, and participate in youth ministry." Diversity. With the influx of new cultures and languages, the parish continued the need to offer the Holy Mass in multiple languages. Both the Haitian and Spanish Mass were inaugurated in early 1970. From 1973 to 1997, Holy Cross continued to open its arms to even greater numbers of new migrants seeking opportunities for social and economic development. The second wave of new migrants are from speaking countries such as Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and Grenada. Later, migrants were Spanish speaking people from Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Central America, and Haitians. Hope. Under the leadership of Monsignor Malagreca, the Sunday school teachers keep educating our youth through the religious education program, even when Holy Cross School has closed. Monsignor Malagreca's charismatic qualities helps bring all three languages in a unique way together to praise God. Each year, he holds a series of retreats, prayer meetings, and at least one pilgrimage for the betterment of our community, society, and future Catholics.